Join us on a tour of the Norwegian Aqua, including the Haven area. We're starting our tour on deck 16 in the Haven. One cool thing about this ship and the other Prima class ships is that there's private elevators for Haven guests. And these elevators aren't just within the Haven, they go throughout the ship with card access only. Here we are at the concierge desk in the middle of the Haven lounge. On this ship, the Haven is on deck 16 and the aft of the ship. It essentially wraps around the entire back of the ship, and the pool area is in the aft. This Haven lounge is incredibly spacious. It has a much larger bar area and lounge area than many of the other Havens that we've been in. In a lot of the videos we watched before we went on this cruise, it felt to us like the Haven and the ship in general filmed fairly dark. In reality, I don't feel like the coloring comes across nearly as dark in person as it does seem on videos. The area is actually quite visually pleasing and stunning. This bathroom was kind of interesting. It looked from the outside like maybe it was a single toilet that everyone could use. Then when you came in, you could see that there's a handicapped stall, a men's, and a women's. And it kind of felt like, is this just a one stall in here? But when you go into the women's restroom, and don't worry, I checked, no one is in here. It's also 5 in the morning. There's actually multiple stalls, so there's multiple full bathrooms behind that bathroom door right by the Haven restaurant. Kind of strange, but it actually worked out pretty neat. Here we are entering the Haven restaurant. Like many aspects of the Haven on this ship, it is quite large, and we had a bunch of great meals here. Here's the outdoor area in the Haven. As you head down, you can see the bar on the left, and then it'll head into the pool area. There's tons of seating around the outside, and much of it is very comfortable. Here's one of the best parts of the Haven on the Prima class ships, the aft infinity pool that overlooks the wake of the ship. This whole Haven area is amazing, very private, and it has some extra spa amenities right here, like a sauna and an ice room that you can access readily. There are also shower areas available outside in the Haven. Here's a view of it in the daytime so you can see better what everything looks like. On the outside of the Haven deck, as you head up to deck 17, This is the adults only sun deck area. So if you're an adult and you're traveling without your children, this deck is amazing. The only Haven hot tubs are up here, so there are no children allowed in the Haven hot tub. If you're traveling with children and you wanted to respectfully be in the hot tubs, you cannot. But that's okay. We still had an amazing time, even though we were unable to access the hot tubs because we had our kids with us. We're going to head down the Haven elevators to the 6th floor to continue our tour. This floor contains a bunch of dining venues, bars, and the casino. As you exit the Haven elevators, you're towards the aft of the ship, of course. You come out by the Commodore room on your right. This area also has the Squirrel Wine Bar and the Whiskey Bar. A couple times when we were looking for the Haven elevators, we got to the Whiskey Bar and Squirrel Wine Bar feeling like maybe we had gone as far as we could go. But in fact, the elevator is a little bit past that, so past the Squirrel Wine Bar, on your right is the Haven elevator. The Squirrel Wine Bar has a really cool atmosphere and a decor that aren't seen on any other ships because it's the first one of its kind. Here on the left is one of our favorite restaurants, Hasuki. On a lot of the other ships, this is called teppanyaki, but on this ship, it's called Hasuki. Entering into the area, you'll notice that it is absolutely giant. Many of the other teppanyakis on the ship just have a few tables to do the show and the food, but this one is ginormous, and it was awesome. Across from this is the Commodore room. It's one of the main dining rooms, so it's included in your cruise fare. Coming out past the main elevator and stairwells, you come out to the casino area and the improv comedy. For all my fellow nerds out there, look how cute the improv signs at the periodic table. Here's the inside of the improv. A common complaint on all the Prima ships, including this one, is its size. It is a fairly small area, so if you want to attend comedy shows, you need to come relatively early. As you exit, you can see that the casino is kind of just integrated into the hallways. At first, when we entered the ship, we thought this seemed pretty strange. Ultimately, though, it's pretty seamless. And one amazing fact about the Aqua and its casino is that there was no smoking except in an enclosed smoking area. So you almost never encountered the smell of smoke. So if you're a non-smoker, that's a real win. But of course, if you do enjoy smoking, it may be a smaller casino area than you expect. Here's the bar that services the casino. You can sit there and order drinks yourself, or of course servers come up to it and get drinks and bring them around the casino. One thing that's awesome on the Aqua is how much seating there is. As you could see in that area by that bar, there was tons of seating, and you find that all over this ship. Plenty of places to sit and relax. Here we enter the atrium. It's totally different than a lot of other ships, but fairly similar to the Prima class ships. We loved this atrium. It's pretty neat looking. We like how bright it is. It is missing the television screen that's in a lot of Norwegian ships, but they did still do tons of shows and performances out here. Heading forward on 6 is the first place you'll encounter the Aqua Theater. The Aqua Theater is a little bit different than theaters on a lot of other ships because it's a dual-use space or a multi-use space. It's pretty neat because it has this cool entranceway, a lot of cool theming, and the chandeliers are part of the performances, but interestingly, they can actually move all of the chairs back and do things like the nightclub in here. I think it's a great use of space, although it does make the theater a little bit smaller, so it can be more difficult to get a show. You'll see more of the theater on other decks. Heading up to deck 7 is where we're going next. Out in this area on deck 7 in the atrium is a lot of people's favorite place, Starbucks. Starbucks is not part of the new More at Sea drink package. You have to pay for that separately, but there are tons of cool seating areas around the Starbucks, and it didn't seem like the lines were short, so people were hitting up Starbucks quite a bit. This area is full of seating where people can just sit and relax. The shore excursions desk and guest services are also in this area, in addition to the people that help you with the internet. As you enter the gateway, it's where the shopping is. They have many similar stores to what other cruise ships have, but one thing they had on here that I hadn't seen on any other ships recently was that they had some sort of reselling of luxury bags there. Although we didn't buy any on this trip, it seemed pretty neat that you were able to shop for luxury bags while you were on here. Next up on deck 7 is Sid Norman's Poorhouse. We didn't get to attend any of the events in here, but we hear they're amazing. This area is a performance venue, and I think some of the wait staff are in on the performances as well. Because the size of the venue is small, one of the popular shows at Sid Norman's is actually done in the Aqua Theater. Continuing on deck 7, you go into the Metropolitan Bar area and past the Humidor Cigar Lounge. Next up is one of Norwegian specialty dining staples, Cagney Steakhouse. If you haven't tried it before, in our opinion, it's one of the better steakhouses at sea. We weren't quite on board with this decor choice of this greenish, yellowish chair situation, but the chairs were fine and the dinner here was great. All in all, Cagney's is always a good experience in our opinion. Like much of the theming of the Aqua, there's tons of seating here at the Metropolitan Bar, so it's easy to find a seat and get a drink and have a good time either before or after dinner. Here we are back at the Haven elevators in case you're looking for those. They're in this area. Nama is the sushi restaurant here. It's a smaller venue, but it did seem fairly popular during our trip. Here's another staple of Norwegian Cruise Line specialty dining, Le Bistro. It's a smaller venue on this ship than some of the others, but it still is pretty beautiful in its decor. Our daughter really loved this chandelier and wanted to get her picture in front of it. Hudson's is one of the included main dining rooms on this cruise ship. This is one of the most beautiful main dining rooms that we've seen. Our cruise was fairly short, only 4 days, so we didn't get a chance to eat here, but if we were to cruise on a longer cruise on the Aqua, definitely we would be checking it out. The views look like they would be amazing, and the room itself is fairly beautiful. On to deck 8. As you exit the Haven elevators, you're essentially inside of the local. The local is on both sides of the ship here. One side is the bar and one side is the restaurant. After you pass the local, you go into Indulge Food Hall. It's a very large part of the ship, and it does take away from the buffet. So lots of people you will hear saying that the buffet on the Aqua is fairly small, but a lot of that is replaced by this restaurant. This is an included restaurant, and it has multiple food stations, or food trucks as the kids would call them for us, and you order off of an iPad. The food comes incredibly quickly, and it's actually an amazing concept where you can try a bunch of different kinds of food, and they all come in fairly small portions. But of course, you can order as much as you want, so if you love the pork barbecue sandwich, you can just go ahead and order another one. There's a Latin Quarter, a plant-based food area, desserts area, Indian food, and a barbecue. As you can see, the Indulge Food Hall is quite large, so there's tons of seating, tons of choices, and it's a great place to check out. It's on the aft of the ship, and it also has a very large outdoor seating area. We're headed back into the local. If you're unfamiliar with Norwegian Cruise Line, the local is a 24-hour-a-day restaurant. That's right, it's 24 hours a day. Although their menu is not the same for the entire 24 hours, you can get some types of foods all through the night. So that's an amazing way to get snacks when you've been up having too much fun. Here we're passing through the center of the ship to head to the other side of the local, where it's the restaurant side. In order to be seated here, you have to see the hostess at the front, but this is an included venue, and as I mentioned, it's open 24/7. Los Lobos is a specialty restaurant for pay on Norwegian, and it does accept reservations at this location. It is adorable, and I think has some of the best theming on this Aqua ship. Also on deck 8 is the photo gallery. They use an entirely electronic system to retrieve your photos. The 8th floor also has Ocean Boulevard, which wraps around the entirety of the ship. As you can see, there are multiple exits throughout the 8th floor to head out there. As we pass through Deck 8 further, we head into a cruise ship necessity, the Art Gallery. There's tons of art on display, and of course there are art auctions that you are welcome to attend. As you pass through the art gallery, you'll notice there's some window seats here. Our kids love getting their pictures taken in here, plus it provides some nice views of the outside when it's not dark out. As we head back out onto the atrium, there's a few more shops that surround the atrium on the 8th floor. There's another bar area out here in the atrium on deck 8. Here on the 8th floor, you'll encounter Onda by Scarpetta. It's Norwegian's newest Italian restaurant, which replaces La Cucina on the Prima Plus ships. Behind the bar on 8 is another stairwell down to the 7th floor. We use this stairwell once or twice, but I do want to tell you that it is what my family would call a one-butt staircase. It is really not wide enough even for two small people to pass each other well on the stairs, so just be on the lookout for other people on that stairwell. Heading up from deck 8, you'll notice that many of the floors in between the main atrium and the outside areas upstairs are all ship rooms. So we won't be touring those areas. The next deck with public space is deck 17. Here on 17 is one of our favorites, a ship model. We love finding our room and looking at all the areas on the ship. Next, we're heading into the Aqua game zone. Our kids are just now getting to the age where they want to check out an arcade on a ship. But I want to tell you, this one is awesome. This whole themed entranceway is super cool. It's easy to use the machines. There's a few free ones, and you just swipe your card to do it. Plus, there's machines that give tickets so the kids can redeem for a prize, in air quotes, at the end. Essentially surrounding the game zone on deck 17 is the observation lounge. This is a great area where you can take a seat, have some snacks, and observe the sea. It goes all the way around the front of the ship and is a really popular location. Near the front of the ship on deck 17 is a stairwell up to deck 18. We're going to head up there quickly to check out what's up there. This is a really cool area because it's the kids' aqua park. The kids' aqua park has tons of seating and it has a splash pad where kids can play. There's no lounge chairs inside of the splash pad, but there's seating all around the splash pad, and then there's lounge chairs all around that area in general. I also like that there's a very small area in this vicinity, so there's kind of not a lot of ways for your kids to escape. That's important if you've got a runner. We're walking back down to deck 17 to access the main pool area. The main pool area is pretty neat because it has a regular sized cruise pool, but around it is a big shallow area, so there's plenty of space for people to get wet and hang out. Also important to note on the Aqua is that there are pools on both sides of deck 8 on Ocean Boulevard, so the pool activity is actually spread out around the ship, which is kind of amazing. It really decompresses this area. Past the pool is where you find the Waves pool bar, an NCL staple. Here I included a view of the pool in the daytime so you could see how it looks when it's in use. And then through there, you're going to enter into the buffet. As I mentioned earlier on the tour, the buffet is relatively small on this ship. There have been a lot of complaints about that, but it does make up for it with the indulged food hall and the local. Also on 17 are two specialty restaurants, Palomar and Sukhothai. We make our way up to deck 18 to some of our favorite parts of the ship. Welcome to the Aqua Game Zone. Here's where you can play Tea Time. It is for pay, and we don't normally mini golf, but this game was awesome and we thought totally worth it. Tea Time also continues up on deck 19, so we'll see both in this video. Tea Time is cool because it keeps your score. The ball is labeled so that the computer seems to know whose turn it is to go. And then it keeps the score for you the whole time, so you don't have to keep track. Good thing, because it has kind of a wacky scoring system. Also amazing about this golf game is that you don't have to go in order. One thing that's difficult about a lot of mini golf places is that you end up waiting in line behind people who are too slow or too fast or whatever. But here you can skip from hole to hole and it keeps track. Super cool. Heading up to deck 20 is where the glow court is. It's a place to play basketball like on many cruise ships. But this also has interactive games that involve a computer system and the floor, and it keeps score as well. You do have to sign up for this, but it is free. Also from this deck, we're overlooking the Vibe Beach Club. It is not included, and it is a for-pay area for adults only. It has some hot tubs, bar service, and comfortable loungers. A common question I see come up in Facebook groups about the Haven is whether or not Vibe is included. Posh was included originally on the Epic, although now that's been converted to a Vibe, and it is Vibe on every other Norwegian ship that has a Haven. The Vibe is not included and is a separate for-pay area. The stadium is an area where there's included shuffleboard, pickleball, a game like beer pong without beer, and other things to do that are super fun. Here we are back at the entrance to the Haven where our room is. It's time for me to head back and get everybody else up so we can enjoy our day. If you'd like to book a cruise on Norwegian Cruise Line, reach out to us. We're travel agents who don't charge a fee, and we love helping you plan a luxurious vacation for you or your family. Also, stay tuned. Many more Aqua videos coming out. And don't forget to like and subscribe.